Hello, my name is P.L. Sullivan, and I am the general facilitator. Yeah, let's go with that word. Facilitator of P.L. Sullivan's International Chicken Wing and Currency Exchange. We are a proud sponsor of Chicago Corner, and even though they probably don't want us to be. So once again, P.L. Sullivan's International Chicken Wing and Currency Exchange, behind that one alley. You know the one.
You are watching the Tuesday night edition of Chicago Corner. Woo!
Hello, hi, welcome to Taco Tuesday. Who wants a taco? Yeah, I know. Taco, we're going crazy. All right, everyone, act normal. Perfect. Now, everybody say Taco Tuesday.
Oh my God! It's Taco Tuesday!
Welcome to tonight's Tuesday episode of Chicago Corner, and I have no idea what the hell just happened. We don't have a sponsor. We really don't. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that, but clearly, I think we have a better idea where the wings went. Right, Jerry Vasilatos?
Did you forget something, Ed?
Welcome to Chicago Corner. It's Taco Tuesday. Where are the wings? We don't know.
You forgot to cue the part of the show that is my mother's favorite.
Oh, which part is that, Jerry?
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it. That's good.
You don't think my mother tunes in to listen to me? She tunes in for that opening intro theme.
Oh yeah. You know, I'm throwing all kinds of buttons around in here, and that that little hack of a break-in with that unexpected sponsor at the front of the show just completely threw me off, Jerry.
Well, I managed to make up for it. So
again,
our branding is in place along with our little thing in the corner there.
Yeah, so welcome to Chicago Corner. I am deep dish pizza enthusiast Ed Heller, and with me, as always, Jerry Vasilatos.
Yes, you should all know who I am.
Well, here I am. So, and apparently he's hacked our little crawl on the bottom there too.
Okay. Oh my goodness, I see that.
I'll have to fix that.
Okay.
Just after I'm done reading it, though. Over by that place behind the alley, you know the one. Oh, okay. Yeah, I do know the one. All right. Tonight, it is a wonderful episode of Chicago Corner where we get to talk about... What are we talking about?
Whatever the hell we want.
Yeah, pretty much whatever the hell we want. And whatever the hell we want is traffic. And boy, there's this whole new thing here. And let me start with one of many little video updates we're going to give you, because it's it's a weird thing to watch the news, because what they do is get progressively more intense with the details or whatever with the stories. It's, if it isn't the weather, it's traffic and construction, Jerry. It's pretty much those two things that our local news like to really focus on. And
or as I like to say, they like to freak out about those things. But I would also want to share, Ed, that there's no amount of irony lost on the fact, to me anyway, that we just finished the Jane Byrne interchange after I've forgotten how many years of construction. It took longer to complete the Jane Byrne interchange than it took for us to win World War II. And we thought that all that construction and congestion was behind us.
No.
Don't get your hopes up, Chicago.
So we all know that yesterday was the beginning of the vernal equinox, also known as spring, and the news people were all over this one.
Good morning. I'm Marisa Vedra. The orange barrels were out on the inbound Kennedy Expressway this morning ahead of lane closures for what will be a massive renovation project that starts tonight. CBS 2's Chris Habermel is breaking down the phases and what you need to know to get around all that construction.
Pause it for a second, Ed.
I am going to pause it. Hold on a second. As soon as I can find the pause button here. Oh, there it is. Okay.
The easiest solution is go buy a helicopter.
Yeah, that's what Chris Habermel does. It's actually very rare for us to see Chris Habermel on television, because usually he's in a traffic copter doing updates for most of the radio stations. I think typically CBS, though.
Yeah.
So here he is telling us about all the congestion and stuff, and giving us the basic rundown of what's getting shut down and when. And I don't know if he's got all the details here, but not every news reporter has all the details, as you will see in the upcoming clips.
Available. This starts tonight at 10 o'clock. From Eden,
that was last night,
Junction to Ohio, it's going to be 2 left local lanes. So the express lanes are going to be locked to the inbound side. 2 left local lanes will be blocked until mid-July.
I have a question. Are they adding bike lanes to the expressway too? That's kind of what it, not only are we going to have all the congestion where all the bike lanes are, I mean, now it's going to be twofold with the bike lanes and the congestion and all the routes that they're telling everybody to take that are alternates are going to have bike lanes congesting it while they reduce the expressway to 2 lanes.
So yeah, all right. So let's see what he tells us here, and then I'll fill in the gaps.
Then from July through December, it'll be the 2 right local lanes and a rolling closure of on and off ramps. Next year, it's going to be the express lane. So they have 4 lanes in and 4 lanes out, but the express lanes will be gone. Then in 2025, the outbound local lanes and the ramps will be done. So it's going to be the same thing. Half of the season is going to be the 2 left lanes, half of the season, the 2 right lanes and the ramps. The alternates that you can use here, you can use Elston Avenue, but the whole world's going to be jumping the Elston Avenue. Milwaukee is not.
And they did.
Can I tell you, I already use the alternates.
Yeah.
Any rush hour, I use Elston, I use Lakeshore Drive, I use Ashland to get downtown, or I use Western Avenue.
Yeah.
Now there's no flow of traffic anywhere thanks to this.
All right. So yesterday morning, my commute, I take the inbound Kennedy to work every day, although I guess not for the incoming for the near future, probably. And they had cones out west of where I get on the Kennedy, but they didn't have them in the left lanes on my way in. So my commute yesterday was actually a breeze. I got to work early. That was rare. They've got all the cones down now, and they're basically, so they're going to do the left lanes, which actually need less work than the right lanes right now. They still, I mean, they're just patching bit by bit the potholes in the right lane. So it's going to be really bad for a while.
And I would think just logically and efficiently, Ed, why wouldn't the area of they're not going to be patching all of those potholes for the entire stretch. Why don't you narrow the lane where you're doing the potholes and then open that when they're fixed and then move that, lane closure down. It's like progressively.
Well, I mean, this isn't just. I mean, this construction thing is not just patching potholes. This is like a thing they haven't done since like the '90s, like completely redoing the expressway surfacing. I
mean, I know we got pothole issues, but beyond patching potholes, at least, from where I'm at up on the north side going into the city, as I'm looking at this map, the express lanes seem to serve their purpose as well. Yeah. Aside from potholes, I would say the Kennedy and the expressway are probably the more reliable thoroughfares that you don't have to deal with all the nonsense on side streets or regular roads that aren't paved properly.
Yeah. And here's what bugs me about this, that they're starting this now, is that they're still doing construction projects on all the alternate streets that you normally would take if you're not going on the expressway. So parts of Western Avenue, parts of Halsted, Ashland's not terrible, but every once in a while there's issues there. And then the diagonal streets, like they said, are going to get super congested. So Elston, Milwaukee Avenue, and they already are during rush hour. So it's basically going to be a parking lot.
Hey, before we go on, we need to also thank our very, very generous patrons, right?
Yes, we do.
That help feed through the $20 a month that we get. That would be, first and foremost, Mr. Dominic Palella, Kathy Powers, Shane Coughlin, who we owe a great debt of gratitude regarding some matters behind the scenes, and Dr. Howard Ehrman and Mr. Joey Lucasio, who is Johnny Legalbo's campaign manager. Actually, that's 5 patrons now. So thank you all. And I also want to thank everybody who's joined us in the live chat, Arturo Medina, Miguel H. It's so nice to see our loving colleague, our love, Kira McCown, Half Clever, and Constitutional Conservatives checked in. Yes, that's tomorrow, but thank you for the advance wishes. And looks like Miguel H is with us also. So thanks everybody who's tuning in. I'm looking, we've got 10 live viewers right now. And of course, we never, ever want to overlook or take for granted our very generous Patreon supporters. Thank you, one and all.
Yeah. So let's see what they have to say for the rest of this one, and then we'll move on to the next one, because I want to show like the difference in how they start reporting it once they get rolling on this thing, because this is them telling you that it's going to be bad before it's actually gotten bad.
An option because we've got road work there that's closing everything down south of 6 Corners. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, a lot of people are going to take the scenic route.
No,
so
Lakeshore Drive.
Start to back up. Public transportation. How about it? Too. CTA Blue Line runs right down the middle. That's great. Metro UP Northwest and Milwaukee District North will do. Also the Metro UP North Line coming down from the North Shore. That'll be a good way to relax, stay out of the traffic, stay away from the barricades, and get to work in one piece.
2 hours late.
Yeah. So here's
this is why people want to work from home. It wasn't just the pandemic, it's all this nonsense that existed pre-pandemic
with traffic. Yeah. So let me switch over really quick. There's the article from NBC5 Chicago. Is there a way around massive construction project on Kennedy Expressway? Yes and no, experts say. Okay. And then it goes into, what can Kennedy Expressway commuters do to avoid the major construction project that's expected to soon wreak havoc on drive times?
Stay home.
Experts say the answer is not much. Thanks, NBC5.
That's what they get paid the big bucks for. That's what they get paid.
Don't need to read any more of that. Let's go on to the next video.
Now to traffic and the start of major construction projects.
Now hold on.
Major
this is
headaches for
where's our pause button? Okay, this was late Monday night. This was Monday evening, right when rush hour is over, so they're putting the rest of the cones down. Let me see. Can I go theater mode? Oh, I can. Okay.
You're looking at a video from Chopper 2 a short time ago where crews are also blocking off lanes on the Kennedy Expressway. For the next 3 years, crews are...
So Chopper 2, maybe Chris Habermill's back in his chopper to do that shot.
And I guarantee you that 3 years is going to turn into 5 years.
Yeah, although they keep stressing, oh no, this isn't going to be one of those Jane Byrne interchange things. Yeah,
it is.
Prove it. Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
yeah, it is. unless somebody really lights a fire under somebody's ass, they're going to turn this into a construction jobs program.
That's right. That's
working to replace concrete and rehab lanes for 7.5 miles from the Edens Junction to Ohio Street.
These vids loud enough for
CBS
you
2's
guys?
Chris Dye is live near the Montrose exit with more on how you can avoid the mess. Chris.
Erica, as the work kicks off, as Chopper 2 just it has, the hunt for alternate routes kicks into high gear.
Now this is they do this shot where they find one of the overpasses. They're like, oh, let's sit up on the overpass where we can see the cars flying by. This is a popular shot in news.
If you're one of the more than 250,000 Chicagoans that take this stretch of highway every day, you may be asking yourself the question, how do you play the game that is Chicago traffic when 2 inbound lanes of the Kennedy are taken off the game board every day? Well, listen up. The next time Chicago will see a construction-free Kennedy like we saw here today, we'll have had 2 new Olympic Games and a presidential election under our belt. Under the knife first in this 3-year project, the inbound lanes. More specifically, the 2 left local lanes through July. When those are complete, the 2 right local lanes will get coned off and reconstructed. That will take the first year. The second year of the project will be reconstructing the express lanes, which will switch to permanently inbound, by the way, during the inbound construction phase. The third year will be the outbound Kennedy's turn. When your iPhone's traffic map shows red on the Kennedy like this, the best alternative will be Elston, just north of the expressway. It's the most direct plan B and likely to be the most congested until 2026.
Yeah.
Milwaukee Avenue, just south of the expressway, also a solid alternative, but it has extensive construction of its own. And for those closest to the lakeshore, DuSable Lakeshore Drive going to be a very attractive route and used a lot more than it is now. And if you can swing it, remember the Kennedy is split in.
Take public transportation. Yeah. So what most people are going to end up doing, because all the diagonal streets are going to be completely jammed, is they're going to basically drive west if they have to get west, and then north if they have to go north. So driving west is not terrible if you can find one of the decent roads that doesn't have too much potholes and other garbage on it. Like Roosevelt Road or Pershing or any number of east-west streets. If you're further north, maybe North Avenue. And then you got to get to streets like Ashland or Western Avenue. Although today, Western Avenue was a parking lot on the south side. I was like, okay, I'm not taking Western North, so I just drove a little further west. Basically, this is what it's going to be for the next 3 years, is either your morning commute or evening commute or both are going to be basically you playing a live version of Pac-Man.
Or this is your opportunity to tell your boss or employer and enforce the fact that you're able to work from the pandemic proved you could work from home. You're going to continue doing that.
Yeah. If you're able to.
That's well.
Yeah. Sadly, I can't. I don't have that option.
You can. Yeah. You got to work in a shop. I get that part.
Yeah.
But you know what?
I have machinery I have to operate. I can't exactly just bring that home and work.
But you know what, though, Ed? Okay, they would be doing the rest of the city a great service by encouraging businesses that employ workers that don't have to be on site, running machines, using equipment to continue doing their work from home to reduce the congestion. I haven't heard that factored into the equation when we know it works.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting to see if that adjustment happens again. I know like when the lockdown happened and when people just slowly started trickling back to work and a lot of people were still working remotely, traffic was not bad on the expressway. It just got progressively worse as, like you said, more people were asked to come back into the office.
Do you know, I noticed in the live chat, Constitutional Conservative shares, Ed and Jerry stop belly aching because the work will be done by union workers. Well, you know what? I guess there's a silver lining to every cloud, Constitutional Conservative.
Yeah, in theory, they'll be done by union workers. And I hope that's true.
Support labor.
Yeah, support your labor unions. it's just that we have the right to talk about these things because these are the ways that we commute. We need to, and we've talked about having more reliable transportation services, whether they be public or private, fixing the roads, fixing the potholes, and all of this stuff. So we can bitch about this for a day.
Andrew Golick shares exactly. Encourage non-essential workers to work remotely helps out a ton. Now, to another good point made by constitutional conservative, and he's absolutely right about that. The only problem that I also see with all this Kennedy construction is it's going to reduce the resources that are going to be needed to repair all the damage after NASCAR this summer.
Yeah,
that's going to be a problem. A reallocation of resources and construction crews.
Well, they should nationalize NASCAR is what they should do, Jerry. And then they would have federal funding and then we wouldn't have a problem, because then NASCAR would have all the funding to do what it needs to do, whether it's, repairing the Sears Tower that they accidentally crashed into, or, resodding all the grass that they plowed through,
Arturo shares the city has to spend all the money on this before declaring bankruptcy.
Yeah, which, by the way, Arturo, I don't know if you guys were around on previous episodes when I suggested this, but the way that the city of Chicago can get out of a lot of its debt obligations and put itself on better financial footing was my Buck Rogers TV series theory, where basically we get out of we can get out of that terrible 99 or 75-year parking deal by reincorporating Chicago as new Chicago.
Yep.
And then you file bankruptcy under the old Chicago. And then you reincorporate as new Chicago. And then you restructure anything you need to restructure. If you got a bunch of old guys double dipping in their pensions and you can't figure out a way out of that, now you can fix that.
And for extra added benefit and eye candy, we elect Aaron Gray as mayor.
That's fine.
Wilma Deering.
I'd be good with the Wilma Deering. I think.
I would too.
I mean, we do need to check her policies on snow removal, though.
Yeah. Or if she's not available, we could get what was her name? Princess Ardala, Barbara. Forgot her name.
I don't remember her name, but I know who you're talking about.
There's a lot of eye candy on the old Buck Rogers show. I have to go.
I think that was the point of that show.
Oh, of course, well, yeah, along with all the spaceship, the Star Wars.
That and the late 70s, early 80s disco music.
Yeah. Pamela Hensley, that was her name. Pamela Hensley played Princess Ardala.
That's right.
Wow.
Okay. All right, back to the videos. Slight detour.
In half by the CTA Blue Line. So if you've stared at trains moving faster than your car for years and you've never rode the rails, this might be the push you need. The CTA tells us there are no plans to add more cars, but additional service changes are in the works in coming weeks to increase Blue Line capacity. Metra also preparing for a spike in passengers as a 3-year new normal begins to roll.
3-year new normal.
And again, this is a live look at Chopper 2 as the long road to pothole-free Kennedy driving begins. And as the work kicks off, you're probably going to need to find your own particular way to make this work for you. If you live on the northwest side, that might mean going south to the Eisenhower and taking 290 in. This really is unprecedented in modern times around here. Some of these stretches of roadway haven't seen new pavement in 30 to 50 years. Erica, this is a project that costs $150 million, 36 bridges getting resurfaced throughout all of it. Again, we're going to try to walk through this every day on our morning show tomorrow, though. You're going to want to watch to see how this is playing out and, of course, pack a little extra time.
You know what would save them from doing this over and over and over again every what is he said, 10, 15 years? Pave over all the roads with brick. Have you gone into old neighborhoods, and honestly,
when
all the older brick roads, and they don't need to be repaved, and they're still stable, and they're not pothole ridden.
I've seen like some of those like places in the streets where they've had to go and do work on the sewers and stuff, and they basically dug through the entire layers down there. And there is a layer of brick on a lot of places in the city, and it's like
it's solid.
It's amazing how deep it goes before you actually get to the sewer system.
And you will also notice that you don't see potholes in brick. You see all the asphalt paving the brick and the potholes in the asphalt, and then you see the brick underneath, and the brick was always stable. I mean, I'm not.
Whatever Rome did
exactly
to make their roads last longer, that's what we need to do, and then also use modern technology to keep that from deteriorating. We can do it. They're choosing not to because they want to turn it into a jobs program every 5 to 7 years.
But the point is, it doesn't deteriorate. And you brought up exactly the example I was going to mention, Rome. You go to Rome, you go to the Vatican, you go to any old European, historical European country that's still got the brick roadways, and they're completely stable. And as you said, it's basic. Now, is it bad to have a jobs program every 7 years?
No,
not necessarily, but at the expense of everybody else's need to get to work. Is there a way to put those construction jobs elsewhere?
Well, the come on, brain.
Oh, now look,
words out.
Constitutional Conservative says you can't drive 60 miles per hour on brick roads. We use cars, not chariots. You could if you drove a Jeep, like I do. That Constitutional Conservative gets sick in every time he rides shotgun because he's got a weak stomach. Go ahead.
So what they need to do basically is they need to fix the basic infrastructure of the roads, and then they cover that top part, which they would have to do maintenance with on more flexible material, like pavement type materials that are good for all the cars. And that would be something that would require maintenance once in a while, but it shouldn't require them to shut down like parts of an expressway for 3 years. Right?
That's true too.
Can confirm. So, so next video. So that was yesterday morning and last evening. Now here's what they had in the morning for us. You can already see before I even start play that the Kennedy Expressway's delays are starting to pick up on here.
Yesterday, we were already seeing those drive times building on the Kennedy, and look at this. The work has started. The slowdowns have begun.
CBS News' Jackie Kostek is driving through this fresh construction on the Kennedy as that project officially gets underway.
See, now they got them in the car on the expressway. That was the next step in the news coverage. They went from here's what's coming and here's our people standing either with an overhead shot of the expressway or the guy standing on the overpass. Now they're in a car. And they got she looks like she's in the backseat or passenger seat
because nobody knows what the experience is like.
Yeah.
Besides a lot of cones out there and traffic barriers, what else are you seeing out there, Jackie?
How disconnected are these reporters that they're suddenly seeing all this? They're suddenly seeing the inconveniences everybody else lives with every day.
Well, I think a lot of these reporters, they buy condos downtown near the studio. And so they take cabs everywhere or they walk to the studio.
Yeah.
And so then they're like, oh, well, I have no idea what it's like to drive in traffic. And like, okay, cool, dude.
Inbound Kennedy from Lawrence Avenue. We're already seeing some brake lights ahead of us as this massive 3-year, $150 million construction project gets officially underway. This is really the first full day, and we've already seen the cones blocking off the leftmost lanes of the inbound Kennedy Expressway from about Montrose to Irving Park. That is right on schedule. And by the end,
construction or not, her disconnect. This is what it's like driving on the Kennedy every day, whether there's construction. Oh, we're starting to see the lights back up. It's like, it's to Ed's point. You live downtown. You probably take ride shares or cabs to work. This is what we deal with every day. It's like
the fact that their car hasn't even slowed down yet is actually impressive to me. Because if you're traveling during rush hour, whether it's the morning or the evening rush after a normal 9 to 5 that a lot of people still do,
parking lot.
Yeah, it's a parking lot. It moves super slow. For no reason, people crawl in the left lane, and they're all getting out of the office at the same time. So it's basically that they're just all trying to travel at the same time, and you got these idiots who decide that they're just going to drive the speed limit or just under in the left lane, and it slows everybody down when they don't get out of the way. What do we have? Oh, Kathy says, brick sink. I have photos.
Kathy, don't ruin my point.
Well, anything heavy will sink, but the point is that you have a sturdy base that would be less prone to crumbling into potholes.
Yeah. Deteriorate. Bricks don't deteriorate as quickly as asphalt and pavement do, but anyway.
But yeah.
How many more? I'm going to be appealing so many copyright strikes in about a week. With all of these videos from CBS.
This is totally fair use here. We're analyzing the way that they're covering this stuff.
I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 appeals I'm going to have to file in about a week or two, because the news hits usually take a little bit longer than the music hits. But
okay. All right. Well, we'll see.
Week, those cones will be blocking off those leftmost lanes from the Edens merge all the way down to Ohio Street. So that's about 7.5 miles of the Kennedy. So what is the overall timeline of this project? Well, the first lanes to undergo construction will be, again, the leftmost 2 inbound lanes from the Edens to Ohio. And the goal is to redo the top 2 inches of concrete and fill the potholes. When those lanes are done, crews will move to the rightmost lanes, and construction on the inbound Kennedy should take about a year. IDOT will then tackle express lanes and finally the outbound lanes in year 3 of this project. And if you live on the northwest side of the city, IDOT is already encouraging you to find some alternative routes. So
where?
There's no.
There's already construction on all the alternate routes.
Yeah.
They don't time this properly. They don't finish the alternate route construction before they congest everything else.
That was what was bugging me. That I didn't finish my complete thought there. But yeah, the left lanes were actually in relatively decent shape, with the exception of a couple potholes that they had patched, at least on my inbound route. So when they shut down the best condition lanes and try to do those first, I'm thinking, shouldn't you do the bad ones first? But I guess it doesn't matter at this point, because either way, you're just going to get slowed down.
I haven't encountered a lot of I can't even remember hitting a pothole on the expressway as I have Lakeshore Drive. Lakeshore Drive is the danger zone more than anything else. From my experience, I can't speak. I can't speak for farther south of the city, because I drive to the south side a lot, and I end up taking Lakeshore Drive over to, is it the Eisen? When it changes from the Kennedy going farther south, does that become the Eisenhower?
You mean the 290?
The 290, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, Lakeshore Drive seems to be much, much worse for wear.
Yeah, and they've redone that a couple of times. In fact, they even redid the direction of that drive.
Yeah, take the Raziel the Great, the Kennedy, as a visitor to Chicago many, many times. Holy balls, is Lakeshore Drive a Swiss cheese type road? Yep. Oh yeah, well there is this. It's like the center lane in the inbound Kennedy, and when you see it, you'll know it, because when it isn't, they have to patch it like every week or so, because it just the potholes just keep opening back up on it. And so I know I stay in the right lane until I'm past that large patch of potholes, and then I get over
to get to the left lanes, which now I don't even have to do because those lanes are closed.
And I've always proposed that the easiest, fastest way to deal with these potholes is we have a lot of aldermen that we could fill them with.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Oh! I beg your pardon. What did you say?
Oh.
For surface streets, they're talking Elston and
Milwaukee
Park and North Lincoln Avenues as well.
Lincoln,
and then
okay.
for other highways, they're talking about 290 and DuSable Lakeshore Drive.
Lakeshore Drive.
And we
Stop
know
the
that Chris
DuSable.
Habermill is up in Chopper 2 right now, getting a look at all of our roadways as we've come to basically a crawl on the Kennedy here as Irving Park, as we approach Irving Park Road this
It doesn't
morning.
look
So
like
Chris,
a
what are you
crawl
seeing up above?
to me. That's not the worst of what a crawl is.
No, because they're covering it in the evening, like around 9 or 10 o'clock. And
crawl. What does she know?
There's no traffic at 9 or 10 o'clock.
You know what it is, Ed? It's because that's when they went out and did the story. They have to say that to support the narrative instead of actually get their asses out there during the daytime and deal with what the rest of us have to deal with.
Yeah. So here's WGN just to get them in for good measure for the channel strikes.
Thank you.
Hey, good morning. I'm still out here, and there's still traffic out here. Take a look for yourself and see what we're dealing with right now.
He's in a
At
car
8:30,
too.
We're still stop and go, but this is what we're expecting. I mean, it's going to be like this for the next couple of months, specifically here on the inbound lanes of the Kennedy Expressway. This is a $150 million project that's going to fix 36 bridges as well as replacing and installing new signs.
Now this is
and
relatively
fixing
what
pavement
the
here on the
commute looks
expressway.
like.
But
Look
right
at how
now,
slow
the
they're
focus
crawling.
is what you're
This,
looking at.
even
That's
with
the
the
inbound lanes
That's a crawl.
between Eden's
Even
Expressway
if
and
those
Ohio
lanes were
Street
blocked off,
exit
it would still
on the
be
Kennedy
moving about the same
Expressway.
speed.
This is
Pretty
going
much.
to be condensed to the two lanes that you're looking at right now. And it's going to go all the way down to Ohio Street eventually. Right now, these two lanes are open as well as the express lanes. The express lanes are going to be only for the inbound traffic for the next couple of months in this first phase of this construction project that's going to last for 3 months. But just keep this in mind: if you decide to get on those express lanes, you will not be able to get out until Armitage Avenue.
Okay.
But again, we're
Pause it
talking
for a
about
second. I think
condensing
that
these lanes down.
there's an advantage to pausing these because it might prevent the strikes because we're divvying it up. But Raziel the Great shares, living here in Florida, you get spoiled with the 6-lane wide highways that funnel into a 2-lane highway after an interchange. Ha, ha, ha.
Oh, is he saying that those are worse or better?
He's saying it's better. He's laughing at us.
Oh, okay.
He's spoiled with the 6-lane wide highways.
The thing is, it's like every time they add more lanes, it's like the traffic's the same. I don't know what it is.
I still I love Kathy's comment here. An alternative to the older people. We need to fill them with valid supporters, starting with constitutional conservative.
Easy now.
Fill the potholes. Oh.
All right, I think we're almost done with
It's
it.
just 2 lanes, so it would be nice to have these 2 lanes on the left side of our camera here open, but
Yeah, it would.
unfortunately, they're not going to be open anytime soon while this construction project is still going on. Of course, we're going to keep you updated as things continue to change on the Kennedy Expressway. But now I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio.
I will answer Art's question. It was worse, but not that different. The 405 is probably one of the worst traffic zones in the country out in California, but it's almost as bad here, almost.
Yeah, I had to drive in California once. That was confusing. It's like everything ended in an 05, I think. And then you're like, wait, which one am I supposed to get over on? I don't know.
I see in the show notes, Ed, that you are going to transition into election stuff.
Oh, were we? Oh, yeah, I guess we are. We can. We don't have to.
Well, no. I think we do, but I have something to nicely ease that transition. That's not in the show notes.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you showed me that one. I saw that.
Well, I have a few.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine.
Shall I share?
Yeah, but before we do, I just want to let everybody know, early voting in the Chicago runoff election started Monday, March 20th. That was yesterday. So you can start voting if you're in Chicago. Just look for your early voting sites and hold on a second. I'll paste it in the chat here so you can Look up your voting sites.
And help Brandon Johnson defeat the vulture.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. It's a comic book illustrator. What the hell was his name? I forget what his name was. We got to look it up. He needs credit for that.
But along with helping Brandon Johnson defeat the vulture, there were a new round of endorsements that came out this week. Ed, did you see them?
I saw them and I was like, do we really need to cover this stuff? I'm like,
we do.
Well, I guess we can mention it. Bobby Rush.
No.
No. Oh, those endorsements.
Paul Vallis is proudly endorsed by John
Burge.
Yeah. John Burge, who's checking in from the grave. Former police commander John Burge. When Paul said he wanted to take the handcuffs off police, that really spoke to me. Next. You know who else proudly endorses Paul Vallis? Buffalo guy from the MAGA insurrection.
Oh, the QAnon shaman, that guy.
Yeah, you know who else? So probably
that guy was an actor. He's an actor. Like when you see him without the helmet on, like his booking photo, he looks totally different.
He looks quite sane. You know who else supports proudly endorses Paul Vallis? Former Confederate General Robert E. Lee.
I was wondering about that. I'm like, is that? It's like Jerry will tell me.
And lastly, I came across this, which was just said it all.
Come on.
Endorsed by landlords, some old rich people, hell-bent on privatizing schools, and your high school bully who became a cop.
All right, this is some serious hyperbole you're throwing in there right now, Jerry.
Yes,
we know that Vallis is a really bad choice. He's a privatizer in the worst way possible. He's destroyed public schools in a number of cities, and he thinks that you can fix this city by just organizing a business plan. You can't.
I came across 2 tweets also that I shared on my social media that I would also like to share here that are actually serious and relevant to what we are talking about with the privatization and Paul Vallis's plan. As soon as I can open these up. Okay. And to your point also, Ed, about crime. Let me just zoom this in. This was one of the best comments I've seen on Twitter, I guess for the past week or actually throughout the election cycle. Here, let me add it. Good point. Cops don't stop crime. They arrest people after crime happens. Vallis's public safety plan focuses on policing. That means punishing people for allegedly committing crimes, not rooting out crimes' causes. Mass incarceration has shown that more jailing doesn't equal more safety. Following up on that. Oh, is it open? Oh, here we go. Zoom in on it. Whoops.
Please stand by.
Ever been to Wilmette? That's actually where I grew up. Super safe community. People don't even lock up their bikes when they go into a bar and you never see a cop. Well, actually, you do see cops. Usually they're out at night pulling people over so they can meet their quotas for traffic stuff. But as far as people not locking up their bikes when they go into a bar, why? People have what they need. Safety doesn't come from an abundance of cops. It comes when everyone has what they need to be happy and healthy.
Yep.
Preventative, proactive, opportunities, jobs, education, infrastructure, not more cops. Because
having
they
the basic
happens.
If everybody has the basic necessities, then crime goes down.
Far less prone to being desperate and deciding I got to figure out how to get what I need because I can't get it the way I'm supposed to get it. The way people in other neighborhoods that are more privileged get it.
And in other election information, them good kids, Mad City kids, they are getting together a few other groups to do an early voting registration drive at it's on Friday, the March 31st, from 3 to 6 at Leaders 1354 store at 1152 West Madison Street in Chicago. So
nice.
If you are if this might be your first time voting, or if you haven't registered to vote and you want to, this is a good opportunity to do it. Okay. What else we got on this thing? Yes.
Oh.
We can jump over to the alder people races for a second. You got something else, Jerry?
Well, on the topic of public safety, I just got an incoming text message from our friend of the show, Nimesh Patel, who, as I've mentioned before, is a Chicago police officer. And he decides to kind of expound on this point that we just made with those two tweets. I'm going to bring the window up because he's absolutely right. And it adds a little bit more to talk about in the show here. Let me open it up on my reading screen. But what Nimesh shares is that, why isn't this opening here? Oh, it's opening multiple. Well, the effects of summer jobs on youth violence. Hang on a second, guys. Let me just really quickly open this up so I can read it while we have it on screen. So yeah, he's speaking directly to what that tweet just kind of alluded to a moment ago, with opportunities and the fact that police are doing more work putting people in jail after the fact. This study examined the impact on violence among disadvantaged youth of an 8-week summer job at minimum wage, an adult job mentor, and for some youth, a cognitive behavioral therapy-based curriculum. Abstract. In 2012, the project randomly assigned 1,634 disadvantaged youth applicants from 13 Chicago public high schools to a program named One Summer Chicago Plus, or to a control group. In tracking these youth's behavior through administrative data sources, the study found that the main effect of the program was a dramatic reduction in violence among program participants. In the first year of the program, violent crime arrests declined by 45%, 4.5 fewer arrests per 100 participants. The decline did not continue in the second year. However, although the cumulative effect suggests that the program could have a long-term impact on violence, there were no significant changes in the commission of the other types of crime. The program-related impact on violence reduction did not appear to be limited to opportunities or behavioral controls during work hours, since the decline in violence occurred mostly after the end of the program. One suggested but unsubstantiated factor in violence reduction may be an improvement in how youth handle or avoid conflict. Although more research is needed in determining why the program had an impact on youth violence, these findings suggest that such summer job programs for disadvantaged youths can be cost-effective. This is an important finding, since more empirical evidence to date suggests that changing youth's behavior with summer job programs is difficult and this is an important finding, since most empirical evidence to date suggests that changing youth's behavior with summer job programs is difficult and costly. 6 tables, 1 figure, 58 references, and appended main results with alternative functional forms and benefit cost comparison details. I'm going to share the link to this article in the chat for everybody that supports Palos Paul the privatizer, who just wants to put more cops on the street instead of figuring out how we can perhaps introduce more programs like this. It's directly from a Chicago police officer who I'm sure does not want to see his hours cut, but recognizes the benefit of proactive solutions, not putting more people in jail after crimes are committed because they don't have opportunities and there's no investment in the neighborhoods that our former mayors have abandoned.
I'm adding that to the show notes.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, last minute addition, but I think it was very worthwhile to talk about. Right. Constitutional conservative. And Nimesh, if you're still watching, thank you so much for sharing this. He says in the text message to me, these are see, we're like in the moment, man. We might not be journalists, but we're in the moment covering important stuff from our viewers, especially those that contribute. These are actual studies that show summer jobs for youth reduced crime. So why not do it year round? Public safety means more than cops, handcuffs, and a jail cell. Amen, Nimesh. Thank you.
Yes!
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome contribution from one of our viewers. Thank you.
So, yes.
Who knows firsthand being in the streets, working and serving as a police officer.
Yeah, and it's nothing we haven't talked about before. It's it's really straightforward. Give people all the stuff that they need. They won't go looking for it elsewhere.
Or breaking the law to get what they have no opportunity to gain legally and with dignity. With dignity. That's the other thing that people tend to forget to include in all of that.
Yeah, and speaking of no dignity,
speaking of undignified,
undignification. The People's Fabric over on Twitter posted this. It says, "Oh, apparently all those people Gardner ignores are residents who aren't vested yet." Now, let me read the thing here. It says, let's see if I can zoom in.
I saw this on Twitter. I'm just
Here.
like, I mean, you want to talk about a sense of like leaving people out. Vested means like vested is.
Hold on. Before you give your definition, let me read this.
Okay.
Jim Gardner, fighting for working families. As your alderman, I have worked with community groups, local businesses, and vested residents to attract $450 million in new developments while creating construction and permanent jobs. Now, my thought is that vested residents, is he talking about cops?
I thought cops, or I thought people who are loyal to his service as alderman. By the way,
bulletproof vests, Jerry, that kind of vests.
That I swear to God, I'm not joking. That little calligraphy on his jacket there on the right.
Oh, that's an interlock logo for the Chicago Fire Department. That's a no-no.
So I don't have. Well, no. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the other side. Unless I put on my glasses, it looks. It looks like it says "fuck you."
No.
At first glance, it looks like it says "fuck you."
No, I think that's for fire truck 26.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I used to work in a t-shirt shop that used to make stuff for the fire departments, or at least I think it was the fire departments. Might have been a TV show, but if it is, I can't talk about that.
I think you're right, though, Ed. By vested, I think it is a dog whistle to cops. You're right.
That's. I was like, vested. What the hell is he talking about? So the tweet says, "How long does it take to be a quote vested resident on the Northwest Side? Your whole life." Also, he still doesn't give an F about violating ethics rules with the CFD insignia on political literature. Yeah, you can't pose with your fireman jacket.
Shouldn't he just be summarily dismissed by virtue of the fact he's violating campaign laws by doing that?
You would think there would be some kind of disqualification mechanism or something, but apparently because Chicago has a history of shenanigans.
Yeah. You know who else did this?
Then nobody would qualify to run.
Well, you know who else used to pull this, if I remember correctly? Ray Lopez, Mr. Law and Order.
Yeah.
Himself.
Yeah, he did. There was that whole fire truck thing.
Yeah, Mr. Law and Order himself was constantly breaking the rules because they don't apply to them.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So yeah, Aldermort is added again.
Yep.
And I don't know if we really need to talk about all the other candidate runoff races. I think there's like 14 different runoffs now.
Yeah.
But he
go look it up. You can't hold your hand and go through it over and over and over again. If it affects you in your ward, you know that there's a runoff and you know who to vote for. By now, you should know who to vote for.
Yeah.
Oh, Dominic joined us. The question we need to ask is, why do we have disadvantaged youth? Do we also have advantaged youth as well? Goddamn right. Goddamn right. And they should all be advantaged of. That's the point. So I was home for dinner this weekend with my family, and of course, the politics that we're not supposed to talk about came up. And again, some people are all for school vouchers. Parents should have choice. And I was arguing, no, if you make all the schools equal and everyone gets the same education downtown that they get up here in Wilmette, where I went to school, we wouldn't have to worry about vouchers and privateers make money off of disadvantaged kids because they get. And why should
the point of a public school system is equity, right?
It's supposed to be, last I heard. So why do parents have to pay more beyond the taxes they're already paying to get the education that they should be getting to begin with for their children?
Yeah. So from my perspective, if you're wanting to get the basic education that every kid deserves, you should be supporting the improvement of the public school system. Yeah. If you want more than that, then you should pay for a private school. It's your choice.
Yeah. The whole idea of the private school too, though, Ed, think about this. I mean, it really is quite insidious how we've been brainwashed and programmed. Mm-hmm. The idea of, well, my kid deserves a better education is really rooted in, I have to be better than other people, and my family and my children have to be better than other people. Wouldn't you want everybody to be as good as each other?
Well, and the problem is because of the rat race that's been ingrained in us for decades. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps. All that other rhetoric that tells you that you gotta do everything you can to get ahead of the other guy, or he's gonna take it from you. Yeah. And all this other stuff. Ricky Bobby, if he ain't first, you're last.
Not the 1% that is dividing us against each other, actually taking all of it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they got us fighting each other over crumbs.
Have you seen what's going on in France?
I have seen what's going on.
Boy, if they got the right idea over there, man. They are listening to everything that we allude to every time we run this clip.
Take your torches and go!
It's really happening over there in France. Oh, by the way, I just got an alert on my phone, Ed. Jamal Green is starting a live video. I'm not kidding. It just came through on my phone. I thought he gave the endorsement. I mean, he's been carrying water for Paul Vallis. Last week he had Paul Vallis come on and do a live stream with him. Which, you know what?
His 15 minutes were up last week.
That's what we thought until I saw it. I'm not kidding. You know what? I wasn't going to share this. I wasn't. I was thinking about it, and I'm like, nah. Why, why beat a dead horse? Why, But when I just saw this thing pop up on my phone that he's starting another live stream, and we do know his 15 minutes are up, lest anybody forget, with 2% of the vote, what we missed out on.
I can't read that.
Sacrificing my life, family, time, and finances for the greater good. If you didn't want to sacrifice your life, family, and finances for the greater good, nobody put a gun in your head, dude. I thought you did it because you wanted to do it and because you wanted to serve the community, but clearly it was quite a sacrifice, and we still have to hear people bellyache about it. But look at everything he did. Forced Chase Bank to give back $1 billion to the South and West Sides, gave out $250,000 to get businesses back open after looting. He did that. Secured over 10 million in mortgages for first-time homeowners and, facilitated that through his entrepreneurial business. Secured over $20 million for thousands, which was good. I mean, it was a worthwhile effort, right? But let's not forget the fact that some people were also invested in that who were helping make it happen for the greater good. Secured, you never thought I'd go this route, did you, Ed? After supporting this candidate. Secured over $20 million for thousands of small businesses to stay afloat during the pandemic. I'd like a source on that. Fed thousands of families with free groceries living in food deserts. Okay, I did see him do that. Created first ever youth commission for. Anyway, you can see all the great, good things that he did. Okay, dude, great. Go live off your credits and your accolades, and you don't have to sacrifice anymore. We don't have to hear about it. Goodbye. Thank you.
No, he's got to keep talking, Jerry.
Got to stay relevant, man. I want to share one other quick story also that made me smile and made me laugh. I had a friend who is involved in politics and, networking here, and they had to attend a Paul Vallis fundraiser forum or something because a friend invited them, and they went, because they're involved with politics here. Now, they had seen Mr. Green at another event prior to his endorsement, before the runoff, actually. I'm sorry, before the primary. And they, said hello to Jay Mall and said they were friends with me, at which point Jay Mall's face lit up, and he told my friend, yeah, that's my guy, because he knew we supported him. My friend ran into him at this recent Paul Vallis forum. Had no idea about the drama that happened 2 weeks ago when we invited him on the show to engage in a conversation about endorsements.
Oh, man.
Okay. Didn't know that it happened because they had not tuned into our show, which I'm like, why didn't you tune in? But they mentioned, hey, do you remember me? I'm friends with, Jerry. And Green literally made a beeline to get away from the door. And they asked me, I was surprised. I didn't know why. And I'm like, yeah, well, you obviously didn't tune into the show and the drama. We're persona non grata now, despite the fact we were very supportive and believed in his platform and policies.
Yeah.
The moment we violated the rules of the cult of personality is the moment that suddenly his guys. Yeah. Pretty funny, isn't it?
It's kind of funny. I feel bad for your friend for being stuck in that kind of 180 kind of situation there.
Well, they didn't, and they were shocked. They're like, what, why? They were, they are no Vallis supporters. But again, it's like, when you work in the city and you're interconnected, everybody goes everywhere. And but yeah. And so when I shed some light on what happened, they said, "Oh, I had a feeling maybe something happened, but I didn't realize that." We'll tune into the show, man. Some people have proven to be a little bit more thin-skinned than our existing mayor. And what we're seeing on social media now, can you imagine what the press conferences would be like? They'd be, look, I've complained
it'd be madness.
It'd be madness. I mean, we've already, all of these, by the way, the live stream chat he did with Paul Vallis, the comments weren't turned on. Nobody could.
Of course they weren't. Because they would have let him have it.
Pretty funny. Look, Jay Mall, I know you're never going to see this because you're not watching anymore. Dude, you were a bright light, and I admire everything that you did, everything you stood for. But sadly, it seems to be out of convenience for grander aspirations related more to ego and other things than. Because when I saw this, I sacrificed this and that. It's like, I don't remember Dr. King or other civil rights leaders complaining about the sacrifices that they willingly made because it was for the greater good. They didn't bellyache about it later. They were humble and they licked their wounds, took their losses, and they certainly didn't go endorse the side that's actually going to make it worse for the people that they were advocating for.
Yeah,
what's up with that?
He's really for people who are still undecided, and I'm still trying to figure out who you could possibly be. You do understand that Paul Vallis is in the pocket of big business and private industry interests that want to carve the city up for themselves and leave none of it for the rest of us. It's as simple as that. There's history. There is a paper trail on Paul Vallis. You don't have to take our word for it.
They're ignoring it. We talked about last week. He did not disclose he's the CEO of this Arkansas charter school with ties and that's owned by a company here in Downers Grove.
See, there are some people that it doesn't bother. Charter schools, private schools doesn't bother them. It's not on their periphery. It doesn't affect them in whatever bubble that they're living in, and so they don't realize that it affects others. There's a whole lot of people in the city that are going to be decimated if Paul Vallis, aka Rom 3.0, only 3 inches taller, gets into office. because all it's going to do is continue whatever the latest version of the Chicago machine is, not in a good way.
Andrew, yes. So Green became a turncoat after being chased out of the mayoral race. Stick my damn head. Where are his values? Well, in his recent live stream, you know what, Ed? I'm not giving him relevance here.
We don't need to.
No. I need to. What I saw on the live streams is the reason he's decided to. My speculation here is the reason he's supporting Vallis is because he felt disrespected by the Democratic Party and the teachers union because they did not coalesce around him. He's basically lashing out now at them because he can't, because of his ego. And Constitution Dominic, yeah, J. Mall is an activist, but he's also an actor. Narcissism is a common trait among them. You would have thought I would have remembered that working in media and entertainment, and you're absolutely right. And sadly, we didn't see that aspect during the campaign. We saw the good leadership and the good speaking and the good policies. But if it wasn't, his way, now it's the highway for him and the rest of us. And that has a lot to do with ego and narcissism. And I would also say, never thought I'd hear myself say this, immaturity. Everything his age, everything everybody pointed to as a liability. The lack of experience and wisdom, realizing that basically you have pretty much shot yourself in the foot regarding anybody taking you seriously again in Chicago politics if Vallis doesn't win and give you that seat at his table or throw business your way. It's over, dude. Sadly, no one's going to take you seriously anymore.
Yeah, I previously had a bunch of stuff in the show notes for tonight where we were going to talk about how people, how there aren't enough drivers for Greyhound buses, and it occurred to me, maybe that's what's going on. He's got a bus company. Maybe they're going to try and give him some private contract or some city contract with intercity transportation through his bus company.
And that'll really shed light on it. Wasn't a payoff, but it was certainly a quid pro quo.
Yeah. Or they could promise it to him. Doesn't mean they're going to give it to him.
Yeah.
Anyway. So,
by the way, I want to welcome one of our Patreon supporters, Shane Coughlin. Thank you, KRTD Media. Glad you appreciate it. Glad you're tuning in. Thank you.
Good to see you, Shane. So I had mentioned that, he turned, we talked about how he would turned off his chat because otherwise it'd be madness. And speaking of madness,
March Madness continues. So is our pizza tournament.
Yes, this is so important here. Yesterday morning.
Now, okay, first off, CBS2, you're on double secret probation for not telling me that you were going to have this. I had to find this out secondhand. But then I saw your 16 choices, and some of them were like really nasty matchups where you were putting like a classic deep dish up against a classic thin crust, and I'm like, why would you do that? Because then you're unfairly eliminating someone early just so you can get your top 8 in there. But what an asshole. I digress.
We gave you the Sweet 16 matchups to some popular pizza joints, and we asked you to vote on the winners through our CBS Chicago Twitter.
And you guys did just that. We had several hundred votes. Let's check out who's advancing to the Elite 8.
Okay, we are checking this out here. Okay, in the top left quadrant, we've got Pequods with the caramelized crust. Mm-hmm. That's that one that Burt Katz invented in 1971. It's a delicious pizza if you've never had it. It's kind of a hybrid between Chicago and Detroit, if I had to, boil it down for people who haven't had it. Versus Gino's East, one of the original deep dish contenders, although they came around in the 60s. They were created by a couple of cab drivers who saw how great Pizzeria Uno and Lou Malnati's was. Or actually, Lou Malnati's wasn't around yet. How great Pizzeria Uno was, and they decided to start their own. In fact, they stole one of their cooks to come up with a recipe for that. So you got caramelized pan pizza versus deep dish in that top left corner. And you're welcome to pick your favorite out of there, Jerry. And we will go and look at the polls in a minute.
You're asking me to make a choice right now?
If you're familiar with those two.
Between Pequod's and Geno's East?
Yeah.
I know them both. I would go with I was at Pequod's not too long ago, and prior to that I remember their pizza being really good, but the second time I went, I don't remember why I thought it was that great. And I've always liked Geno's East, so I would go with Geno's East.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I've been to Pequod's a couple times, and I found that sometimes it's just a big dough bomb. It's like got a lot of dough. You can order it with light dough, and that's sometimes the secret to getting it to where it's still got all the great flavor that you remember. But then also you got to pick the toppings. I like sausage. Italian sausage is really great there. And sausage and pepperoni combo is definitely a great combo there.
You know what just struck me? Between Laney's wine report and your pizza fixation, we have the makings of a great cuisine video network.
Yeah, I think somewhere down the road we're definitely going to have to maybe have a night where we would just feature food. I mean, that would be
food and wine.
That would be fun. Yeah, and Laney's always has been inviting me to finally do a deep dish and wine episode of her Chicago wine report. So we will get that eventually. Okay. So let's look at the other four here. We got Lou Malnati's versus Giordano's. So that's deep dish versus stuffed.
It's a tough one because they're both. Lou Malnati's is great for the crunchy, crispy, delicious crust, but Giordano's, it's like you're biting into butter, and it's so good.
Yeah, so it's like Lou Malnati's. That's the quintessential deep dish experience. If you just want a authentic deep dish with the cheese and the sausage and everything, that's the Lou Malnati's. Giordano's, it's if you're a big fan of cheese and you like that huge cheese spectacle where they take the slice and put it 3 feet over your head, that's a great experience to have. I mean, it is, but again, it's a spectacle, but still a lot of cheese. And that can be a really delicious thing, especially right out of the oven. It's all melty and delicious. So yeah,
and a real heart attack over time.
Yeah. So we'll roll over to the top right. You got Vito and Nick's. That's tavern style thin crust. I believe Chicago style box cut, square cuts, thin crust pizza was invented at Vito and Nick's. They seem to be the first originator that I can find information on, but so there they are. And then they're up against Pizzeria Uno, the guys who invented deep dish pizza. So I that's a little unfair in my opinion.
See our comment from whatever man.
Next up, Chicago's Kielbasa report. Which Polish sausage is the best? We will let you know in the next episode of Chicago Food and Wine Corner. Yeah. I got to go Vito and Nick's only because otherwise they get eliminated here. And it's sad for Pizzeria Uno, but you already got Lou Malnati's in the finals, basically. I think they're going to come out ahead of Giordano's. We'll see. We're going to look at the poll results. I believe they're still taking votes on Twitter at CBS2. So bottom right, Paisanos. That's another from the Malnati's family, and they do deep dish and thin crust as well. And Aurelio's is known for their thin crust pizza.
I'm surprised. Why didn't Domino's make the cut?
Oh, I don't know, Jerry. Can't possibly imagine.
Pequod's now goes up against Geno's East. Then we have Lou Malnati's versus Giordano's. Chicago favorites there. Vito and Nick's takes on Pizzeria Uno. And finally, Paisanos versus Aurelio's.
So we want to see those polls go wild again. You've got until noon today to vote on CBS Chicago.
Yeah, they said we got till noon, but the polls are still running. So we're going to jump over there really quick here. You got 7 hours left in these polls. You got Pequod's a pretty giant lead over Geno's East here, 71% for Pequod's. Lou Malnati's 68% over Giordano's. That's a little surprising actually, because Giordano's gets a lot of love nationwide, because I guess people really like the cheese. That's got to be what it is. And then Vito and Nick's, okay, yeah, they're in the lead over Pizzeria Uno. I'm not surprised by that at all. 67%. And Paisanos is not in the lead. Aurelio's coming out ahead at 62%. So they must have a lot of fans on Twitter. 7 hours to go. You guys can go to see at CBS2 Chicago and find their polls and vote in them if you want to. And then I guess we'll have the final four they'll announce tomorrow. And we can follow up on that on Friday if you want.
It kind of looks like we're at the end of our show notes. And given that someone had mentioned in the live chat, next up is Chicago's Kielbasa report. Whatever, man.
Yes.
That triggered a memory in my head regarding a video from YouTube that I shared in the private chat with you. That might be a nice video to close the show with.
Oh, you got a Kielbasa video?
Yes. What's one more copyright story out of appeal?
Jerry, we got. All right, hold on a second.
I think we should close the show with this. I used to play this for my nephews all the time when they were like 4 and 6, and they just laughed their little butts off. And it's a funny video. It's silly, but yeah, it's Who Stole the Kishka to the stylings of an independent video maker here in Chicago.
Okay, just so you know, a Kishka is not a Kielbasa, but
I know, but I just thought Kielbasa, Kishka, whatever. It just for some reason led me to remembering this.
Well, something tells me if I did a search for Kielbasa, we're going to find all the wrong videos.
Yeah, definitely.
So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, Who Stole the Kishka?
Someone stole the kishka, someone stole the kishka, someone stole my kishka from the butcher shop. Hey, who stole the kishka? Who stole the kishka? Who stole the kishka? Someone call a cop. Round, firm, fully packed, it was hanging on a rack. Someone stole the kishka when I turned my back. Hey, who stole the kishka? Who stole the kishka? Who's got the kishka? Won't you bring it back?
Yes. I just wanted to throw a pause in there for a moment because I just got to breathe.
It's a masterpiece of video, I think.
It is. They pulled out all the stops for
the
this.
Production values alone.
They're through the roof, Jerry. They spared no expense.
That's what I love about it, especially that paper mache globe in the beginning.
Did the Homer Simpson thing there with the dancing around the floor in the circle. That was awesome.
I love it. Civic TV.
Someone stole a kishka. Someone stole my kishka from the butcher shop. You can take my shinka, take my fine kielbasa. You can take my
there it
blue
is. There's the kielbasa. Hold on. There it is.
You
Whoa.
can take my blue suede shoes, bring back the kishka. Who stole the kishka? Who stole the kishka? Who's got the kishka? Won't you bring it back?
I gold, man, gold. Civic TV gold.
That was beautiful, Jerry.
You're welcome. I'll send you the bill.
I was starting to feel that we just really didn't have anything worth wrapping up the show with, and then Jerry pulls out the kishka.
That's what she said.
I beg your pardon. What did you say?
Jerry pulled out the Kishka.
I pulled out the Kishka, all right.
Anyway, so thank you for joining us tonight on Chicago Corner. It's been a wonderful Taco Tuesday, and I have no idea why we were sponsored today by PL Sullivan's Chicken Wing, International Chicken Wing, and Currency Exchange. But I guess I'm grateful for the sponsorship for today, and thank you, PL Sullivan. Oh, your name sounds familiar, although I can't figure out why.
Oh, I have an update too. Reached out again to Brandon Johnson's people. He's doing a debate tonight. He has a fundraiser Friday that goes into 9 o'clock in the evening. I doubt he's going to be joining us this Friday. I sincerely doubt he's going to be joining us before the runoff because he's a busy man, a lot of people to talk to, and I can forgive that. But we did what we could, ladies and gentlemen, to get him.
Yeah.
On.
Speaking of that, there was a story we didn't cover about Bobby Rush endorsing Vallis, and it turns out that basically the reason he did that was because Brandon couldn't make time for him because of his busy schedule.
Oh, another one.
So
another candidate endorsing the opposite because they were personally hurt.
It's like Bobby Rush, weren't you good friends with Fred Hampton? Didn't you have a problem with the institutional police system? What's going on here, man?
Oh, the butt hurt.
Oh no, just kind of hinky.
Very hinky.
And speaking of hinky, make sure that you, if you have the need for any international chicken wings or monetary currency exchanges, especially the international ones that are international, you want to go to PL Sullivan's International Chicken Wing and Currency Exchange. It's behind that one alley. You know the one.
Half Clever Shares, they co-hosted a fundraiser for Johnson last night, and he could only come for a short period of time. He has back-to-back events all day and all night. Well, we did manage to give him the Chicago Corner Manifesto at the Copernicus Center.
Yeah.
When we had the opportunity to cover that forum and talk to a few of the candidates. So we're very proud of the fact we got it in as many candidates' hands as we could that showed up there. Now, whether they actually looked at it, and I would hope they at least with a little bit of curiosity. Who's this madman handing me this thing on camera regarding a manifesto? Maybe he looked at it. Oh, Kathy Power shares. Here's your answer, Ed. Bobby needs money for his church. He's in trouble.
There it is.
So we hope to be back Friday.
Yeah.
Although we won't have Brandon Johnson with us, unfortunately, but we'll see what happens.
So thanks again for joining us tonight. If you want to check us out, find out what we're doing next, or look at all the links and the link to our social media and all that fun stuff, head over to ChicagoCornerTV.com.
Kathy, I shared the link to I don't know if links show up in the super chat that you can click on them, but just go and YouTube search who stole the Kishka. It's under the account of Sam Sitar. And what I'll do is I'll really, really quickly put that in the live chat so you know which Kishka video you are looking for.
So there we have it.
There you have it.
So everybody, take care of yourselves. Drink plenty of fluids. Stay.
I know warm. I drank mine tonight. It was whiskey and Coke. So, I always honor Ed's mandate there.
If you're in the city of Chicago and you haven't registered to vote yet, they let you vote. You can register the same day, election day, or you can go to any of the early voting sites, and I think they'll register you there as well. And again, Good Kids Mad City's doing a voter registration drive on Friday. You can rewind the show and find out where it was, or look at our show notes. There's a link in the show notes. Andrew Golick says, I'm going to keep thinking about the cops in Endorse Vallis who stole Bobby Rush's popcorn and coffee. Yeah. Maybe that's what it was, Jerry, is that they went and bought him a fresh supply of microwave popcorn. And so now he supports. Sometimes that's all it takes.
Stranger things have happened.
We replaced your popcorn. Will you vote for Paul now? Okay. That's not an impression. That's just me going, okay.
Oh, you know what? We forgot to. Well, you shared it with me. What? I don't know that. I thought it was something you want to talk about on the show. It was
no. There was a Joe Rogan clip from a number of years ago where he's got Jamie Foxx on, and Jamie Foxx is talking about comedy and doing impressions and all of that stuff, and some of the things that are sometimes you do impressions and you do take different acting roles that are not necessarily the same race that you are, and you're basically doing it's acting. It's creative, it's controversial, but it is, these are the types of things that as an actor and or comedian that sometimes you take these challenges on, and sometimes they are problematic depending on who's seeing them and what context that they are delivered in or what context that they are taken in. And so again, you have to take those things into account. You can't just say, okay, that's not right, or he shouldn't be doing that, when you don't take everything else into the context. And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't also look inward. So we look at those things and say, okay, maybe I won't do that anymore. But it doesn't mean that we won't consider the possibility that there are some things that we can do that might rub some people the wrong way. But that's the risks you take when you do entertainment or comedy or acting or anything. When you have a show, or you tell people your opinions, or you do parody, or you have a controversial statement or a hot take.
The mean-spirited stuff is clearly out of line.
Right.
If you're poking fun at something, if you're poking fun at the absurdity of something, I think people can draw a line between the absurd and the mean-spirited, or outright, downright dehumanizing. So anyway.
Yeah, and the best examples of these are a lot of the animated shows that are really popular, like Family Guy or South Park, even Simpsons. You look and see some of the stuff they're doing, and sometimes it's like, oh man, I can't believe you went down that road. And it's like, yeah, these are the things that people do in comedy. They're always pushing that envelope and trying to see where's the line, right?
It was funny. And you know what? If we kept pushing this stuff, South Park would no longer be on the air. And you want to talk about irreverent.
Yeah, we're not even close.
Nope. Irreverent in a way that is welcomed and celebrated and embraced. South Park is.
Yeah.
Steve, good night. And to everyone who's out there in the chat, thanks for joining us tonight. Whatever man says good night to us too. You too, Jerry, Ed and Jerry. Stay hydrated, blah, blah, blah. Kathy says she's going to be playing that Kishka song all night long.
I know. I think I'm going to play it again. Not on the show, but just after the show. I suppose we could play it one more time on the show.
Yeah, if you want to. I didn't want to commit us to that, but go ahead.
Where the hell? I don't know where the hell I did with it.
Oh, is it the link in the private chat anymore? It's in the private chat.
Oh, wait. Is it there? Is it still there? Oh, it is still there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on.
The paper mache balloon of the world in the beginning is just, it's gold, man. It's just, it's legendary.
It is.
Someone stole the kishka. Someone stole the kishka. Someone stole my kishka from the butcher shop. Hey, who stole the kishka? Who stole the kishka? Who stole the kishka? Someone call a cop.
He stole the kishka.
Fully packed, it was hanging on a rack. Someone stole the kishka when I turned my back. Hey, who stole the kishka? Who stole the kishka? Who's got the kishka? Won't you bring it back? Someone stole the kishka. Someone stole the kishka.
I think he stole it.
Someone stole my kishka.
I don't want to know what he did with it either.
You can take my shinka. Take my fine kielbasa.
Hey, Jack, you
can
see
take
my
blue suede
car
shoes.
keys and my
Bring back the kishka. Who stole the kishka? Who stole the kishka?
No,
Who got
he
the
don't have it.
kishka? Won't you bring it back?
Awesome. This is the content that I keep coming back for. 10 out of 10. We're glad to know that.
Yeah, we're toast. They're totally gonna nail us on that. All right, everybody. Good night.
Fuck this noise, man. Get out.
Get out. And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.